What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of FFBE War of the Visions. This is Dave. Today we are going to go over the long-awaited Coral Sword. So Gratz Orlandu and Gratz Iridia on the Platinum Mace. Now, these two units aren't the only ones who can use it, so we'll go into some details about that. We'll go into details whether they're worth farming, which versions are the best, and then I'm going to give you some other tips about these weapons. So without further ado, let's jump right in and take a look at the mats for the Coral Sword. Okay, so here we go. I'm not 100% sure because the global site says that you need ogre bristles. However, the Ultima site on JP says you need Ahriman steers. I actually do have a recipe on my JP account, but there was unplanned maintenance on global and JP was down too, probably another server issue. I'm not sure what's going on there. Hopefully they get that fixed and we get some free Visior and stuff for the compensation. But I believe it's Ahriman tiers. So if you farmed the Iron Giant, you should have some extra of those, and green smiley faces. They're always good. But usually how these farming events work, by the time you get the lightning crystals, by the time you get enough books and recipes, you will have enough lightning crystals and Ahriman steers to create 2 or 3 of these darn things. So don't really worry about that. The biggest bottleneck is always the 2570, those green smiley face. That'll take the longest to farm for you. So I put up on the screen the 2 units right now in the game that can use it. So far on JP, there really aren't any other units. Lightning is still the most underrepresented element in the game, even with the new sniper Nivalu, who I picked up the other day. Now, a lot of people might not have realized it, but that tank up there is actually pretty good. They're able to steal time. They're pretty quick for a tank. They'll also be able to use the lightning blade there, so you'll be getting more damage versus other units who can only use the Nagnarok, etc. So that unit could be useful in the future. Also, I believe right after the maintenance on JP or sometime tomorrow, the Siren Raid is going to be released. Now, it's made for the Naval, the sniper unit, who, like Frederica, has double shot in her gunner tree. So you can probably use the 2 of those together for that. However, I'm thinking, maybe if you have Orlandu, or maybe you can just do a Gilgamesh with Quicken and Haste, drop the slash resistance, have Orlandu drop the lightning, and use Orlando's or something like for that raid. And being as this lightning unit here, I don't know her name or his name. It looks like a guy, girl. I guess it's a girl. They make it so hard. These anime-looking characters, you can hardly tell. But I think it's a girl. Let's just go with it. So she is able to, I believe, steal time as well. So I will give you a report on the raid later on and get some details and get videos like I did for the Kane video, raid, sorry. But I believe that she could be very useful for that because if you're going with lightning attack units, slash units, if that's a real thing that works, that unit could go in there and contribute pretty nicely. So again, I'll give you an update on that once I know. Okay, not too much to say here. It's not available in the shop now, but after the event, it will be. So if you, for some reason, miss the event or you can't get enough recipes, it's not the end of the world. You can still buy them on the shop, so don't worry. All right, so this one, Vital, is a total piece of garbage, but Critical and Assault, both of them could work. Now, when we take a look, I think Assault actually has, 11 more points, stat points total. Assault, I think, is the best because we're only getting 4 more accuracy and we're only getting 10 more crit. Orlandu already crits fairly often, right? And we want him to kind of hit hard. So I'm not sure crit is the best for this. Most people I've seen on JP have gone the Assault route because we're losing 25 attack, I don't know, maybe 2-3% damage, depends on the attack he's using. But we've seen other crit weapons. I just made a crit bow, the killer bow on JP, and that has 24, 25 crit. So 13 for a crit item is not that high. Could be good, and just a little bit of extra accuracy helps. However, right now in global, we only get our bonuses from one piece. JP, you'll get it from 3 pieces, so that will definitely help you out a little bit. However, on your second piece, if you only get 40% or something like that, 40% of 8 is nothing. So I just keep that in mind when you're making your decision. But I think both of them are definitely viable, and a little bit of extra stats here and there help out. But with them being so low, like let's say you put the Alexandrite ring on, you're already like nullifying that bonus in there. So just keep that in mind. I think Assault is the best, but that's in my opinion. Okay, so this item has already been in the game, but we're going to get a specific farming event for it, which will save you, 63 times 1.25 mil, so it's something like 80 million. So that's really good. No new mats here. I already have enough mats to craft this thing, just saved up. I just don't have the recipes. So if you've been hoarding mats like myself, once you get those recipes, bam, you can craft this. I'm definitely planning on picking up the Mathematician. It is a game-changing unit. It is meta. It's a great unit. I've made a specific video for that. But you know how everybody wants Ziza? Well, on JP, the second most sought-after unit, or even as much as Ziza, is the Mathematician for farming, for healing, for guild battles, you name it. It doesn't mean she doesn't have any weaknesses, but her strengths are just better than some other characters. So I also put Mashari up there. I talked about it in the Irudio video as well, but later with the Platinum Rod that comes out with the healing and whatnot, Mashari isn't 100% off the radar. Now, she has a very good trust right now, but the trust alone really doesn't justify spending all the resources on her unless you're a super whale. I'm a whale myself, and I still haven't gone after her yet. But not 100% out of mind. And also keep in mind, new vision cards on JP right now, they're starting to add abilities. So that new one with the Man Killer for magic, it also gives you an ability that void magic that does almost as much damage as flare, I believe. So with the potential of future abilities like that to augment units like Mashari, who really have a lack of overall goodness, by adding the Curata, 2 charges on the staff, and possible vision card abilities that could be equipped on her, I don't think the unit is 100% unusable. And she certainly has her uses right now, but not as good as other UR characters. But for the Final Fantasy IV event that would be coming up, she might be pretty decent for clearing out some of those skeletons because they're all dark, and she has Banishka and Banishra, which are both AoE holy skills. So if you equip this Platinum Rod on her, she could do fairly well. Alright, so there's 3 different versions of the Platinum Mace, but in reality there's only one. Now, if Mashari was a better unit, and like her physical attacks plus magic was a real thing, then you might want to go after one of the other versions. However, there's only one purpose for this, and it's getting your magical stat up as high as you possibly can. Okay, so you can get this. It's been in the game, like I said, since the beginning. So you don't have to get it in the event, but it's going to save you a lot of gil. And gil is a scarce resource, and you want to conserve it as much as possible. So this, I compared it with the Platinum Rod coming out later, and it does have, I think it's 30 more magic. I think the other one's in the 150s, but you do get the 2 charges of Curata and the same 15 magic attack. Now, I missed getting this because I started on the Mathematician banner on JP, and I only got it up to +3. So a lot of my videos I used in there, she was not anywhere close to her full power level, and she's still not at 100% yet. So on my global count, since I'm a whale and I have, Ramu maxed out, I have Diablos, blah, 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 I think we're going to see some pretty crazy numbers with Iridia. And I didn't see too many videos on JP because most of the big whales, they all pulled on the limited time and they skipped over this unit and they regretted it later. People regretted not getting Aldoa also because her trust is so good, even though it's only equipable on so many units. So, yeah. So good item to get here. I would definitely recommend getting this, regardless if you're going for the mathematician or not. With the coral sword and with this, I'll say it again, even if you don't have the units now, just farm it enough to get all the recipes, right? If you never get the unit, great. I mean, you got the recipes, but that's not a loss either because you also get other crafting materials with the recipes. So, yeah, I mean, it's never a waste. For example, the golden helm, I still haven't made that piece of crap. It has so many minuses, and yeah, it does have missile resistance, but I'm glad I didn't make it because there's a better version, the Final Fantasy IV Cecil's shoulder pads. They're heavy armor, it's the same armor type, they have the same missile resistance, and they have a lot less minuses. And I think the stats might be, maybe they're a little bit higher, maybe a little bit lower, but you lose all those minuses that you get with the golden armor set. So, I mean, getting recipes is definitely never a bad thing. So even if you don't have the unit, I have some people I talk to often, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm not going for that because I don't have the unit. Well, as I said earlier, that lightning tank there, it's not a bad unit at all. And, for free-to-play people or people not spending much, eventually you're probably going to pick up that unit. You can probably get up to 79-89 if you work on their hard quests. Their sword is really good as a trust because it boosts your JP gain for new units. The unit is a fast tank. I think it's the fastest tank in the game because they have a lot of agility on their board. They can steal time as a tank, which is huge. Okay, so it's a really great unit. So just don't overlook the future possibility of weapons and items. I just want to stress that again. I know I'm dragging this out, but it's better to spend a little bit of extra time and get it and not need it than later discover, oh crap, I should have gotten that. I've made that mistake with the Ice brand. I'm like, oh, I don't have Gilgamesh. I don't need it. Then I got Freyva. And I'm like, oh crap, I should have been buying that recipe from the beginning. Then I got Gilgamesh, and they had the two things where you can get 40 shards for 1,000 each, times 6. So within the span of 2 weeks, my Gilgamesh went from nothing to level 89 because I bought 240 shards for pretty cheap because you get them for half price for Gilgamesh. So, yeah. Oh, how I wish I had bought the Ice brand recipes earlier. So don't be like me. Don't regret it later. If you're on the fence, should I spend the time on doing it or not? Yeah, spend the time. You don't need to necessarily go for a +5. I find that by the time, if I'm starting with 0 mats and I go after a +5, I will probably have anywhere from 200 to 500 recipes by the time I've farmed enough books and the 2570 material in order to get that. It depends on the drop rate. Sometimes I'm usually at least in the low 200s for recipes. Okay, so farming enough recipes is maybe like farming up to like a +3-ish. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. So hopefully the drop rates are good on this. And yeah, so with that, let's close out the video. Alright guys, this video dragged on a little bit longer than I was hoping for, unfortunately, but I have some good information and good and advice there, so you don't make some of the same mistakes that I did with not getting something. Like when the game first started, I was a complete noob, and I didn't farm the golden sword, I didn't farm the Drakehorn mace, and I didn't farm the cat claws. And I started after the Sasuke's katana even came out. So now I am scavenging the store for recipes. and I'm probably spending 2 or 3 million a day, which is about the same as I'm making. It's just going up, down, up, down, up, down, in buying the recipes, because I got Oldoa and Stern up finally. So I'm working on the Golden Sword. I want to get that Drakehorn Spear for units other than Victora, for example, Glacialia, and get maybe the AIM version of that with 28 AIM. So there's a lot of good recipes. I'm working on Sasuke's Katana also. They did re-release it on JP. The event just ended last week. However, do you want to wait another 4 months from now in order to get that? I don't. I'd like to start using my Katone before then. But with what she has now, I'm not really hitting probably even half of her full potential. And I mean, she's a very versatile unit. So yeah, I'll stop it here. Again, Discord is always open. Feel free to come in, check out news, share with other people, ask any questions. You can ask me for any advice anytime. And, maybe periodically we'll do free matches and stuff like that. I didn't run it this past weekend, but hopefully maybe sometime this week or next weekend, I'll run it again. So you can do live stream on Discord and hopefully have fun. And it's aimed at all types of players. We'll do, like SR, MR, different element things. So you don't have to be a whale to do good in it. I actually, everyone could see what my teams were, but I actually lost to some free-to-play players in it. So just because I'm a whale doesn't mean I'm guaranteed to win. Okay? And don't hate on whales because we're paying so you can play for free. All right. So without further ado, I'm going to end the video here. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time on another episode of FFB War of the Visions. Take care.